the two wars are somehow connecting. And what's going on right now with the new attacks, U.S. attack on Iraq, together with Saudi Arabia? You look at the situation, Andre. Since last time we talked, it wasn't anything between Iraq and Saudi Arabia. Right now, the war is happening between Saudi Arabia and Yemen, and Saudi Arabia is expanding the war between Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It's somehow, how do you see the way that Donald Trump is managing or somehow trying to help, or I don't know if he's helping Saudi Arabia or he's putting Saudi Arabia in a fragile position as time goes by? And what is militarily looking at the US attacks together with Saudi Arabia on Iraq and on Yemen? Is that going to help Saudi Arabia?
No. Mr. Trump is demented or impotent fool. That's who he is. He doesn't understand the meaning of the statesmanship and governance as such. Neither does his administration as a whole, because a bunch of amateurs, they are running like crazy. Well, not that United States produced any professional diplomats, intelligence people, and military people in a long time. It's not just Trump. Before that, it was Biden administration. Then you had those nut jobs from Obama. So they just, sinking deeper and deeper into the mayhem which they created. And, what can I say? We discussed it before. I mean, they don't understand war. And now you have actually Brad Cooper, no matter how people treat him, because, oh no, he probably feminine and all that. Hey, listen, the guy definitely has brains. Maybe he is not like, tough talking guy, Hollywood type, BSers I'm talking about. So he came out a couple of days ago. He said, we need to stop bombing immediately. And obviously he talks about it because there is not enough arsenal, so to speak, munitions which they need. And if it continues like this, United States will be, it was already demilitarized to a huge extent in special military operation. And so now they left, obviously, all kinds of those people like Matt Waltz, Mike Waltz, and others, saying, oh, yeah, we still have enough. No, you don't. It doesn't take knowledge of calculus or operational modeling to understand what is going on, and it's going to get much worse before it gets any better.
What do you make, Andre, of the meeting of Donald Trump with Benjamin Netanyahu and Zelensky? And it feels somehow Zelensky, before going to Washington, he attacked one of the Iranian ships, Iranian cargo vessels.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that he's tried to send, in my opinion, he tried to send some sort of message to Donald Trump. We can come here, we can do something for you.
Yeah.
What is your understanding of that?
Well, it's all about PR. Obviously, they said that one of the Iranian sailors died because of that, but that's what they do: terrorism. Pure and simple. And yes, you have to understand there are morons without any real serious education on anything. They react as most of Washington, take any senator or even military people who served, like Tom Cotton, they react only on explosions and things like that. They don't understand operations. They don't understand how real wars are fought. And so, killing civilians, that's what they do. Terrorism, pure and simple. And I'm saying nothing new here. Mr. Lavrov, today, in his interview, he stated that they look at terrorism and think that that's war. I mean, they think that it somehow, reflects on the prosecution of the war, but it really doesn't. It just merely, make people more resolute and they are near in their rope. They out of anything. They need to fight war the way Pentagon understands it, and I can tell you now, it doesn't understand what real war is. It never did, really. And so I'm talking about modern times. I'm not talking about people of the scale of Eisenhower or George Marshall. Those guys knew what war is. These guys don't. They don't understand anything about it. And so, yeah, it's not going to help in anything. And they will continue to do terrorism, albeit this CB or whatever the nut job they have as the foreign minister, he called immediately to Arakchi. And after essentially Iran showed the range map that they can easily reach Ukraine. So, they try to damage control, but they will continue to do things of this nature one way or another.
Andrei, do you think that the war, the West, or they somehow are feeling if they merge the two wars together, they're going to have the upper hand?
They, as I already stated, the Pentagon is incompetent. They are generally, American political and military top doesn't understand what war is. They can think whatever they want, but they invented this, Hollywood version of war, where the good guys, who obviously they are. Well, come on. I mean, let's go back to 1996. Jeff Goldblum with their old, Apple Macintosh laptop penetrated the software of the alien ship with the advanced civilization, which does the interstellar travel. Remember Independence Day? I mean, come on, there are limits even to fantasy, okay? But this is who they are. I mean, not all. There are some people who are competent, but they're not allowed anywhere near the levels of power and influence. And yeah, American generals are not smart. It has been demonstrated. So they can, unify wars, split them, whatever they want. The laws of physics, the laws of economy, the laws of war, the laws of operations, mathematics is not there. And they wouldn't know how to do it anyway. Their models are garbage, essentially. Their technology is garbage, with the exception of what is always was the strong point of the American military, which was ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. And even now, for example, in Ukraine and over Russia, their satellites are being jammed really badly by Russians. So they lose their whole operational picture. In terms of Iran, they is usually miscalculated. And the resolution of Iranian people is such that, but again, listen, they don't have any specialists in Iran or Russia, what have you. They have this trash, basically, the credentialed cretins they produce in the Ivy League, and all those dissidents who come out like this, Pehlevi's family, and they tell them whatever they want to hear. That remember Chalabi moment? Iraqi will meet you with the open arms and the flowers, and Russian people will rise and remove Putin, and Putin's regime will fall. These people really do not understand basic things, because none in the Pentagon or CIA ever understood what real war is, because none of them ever lost any of their relative, wife, child, parents, grandparents, their property. They don't know what it is. This is an imperial force which only knows how to fight the third-rate, aborigines somewhere, and that's about it, against people who cannot shoot straight back. They now encounter something which they are not ready. They never have been, and that's the result. We can see it. It's basically just decomposing in front of us. And what do they have? Well, against Iran, they have nuclear option, which immediately makes United States after that the pariah state, and the consequences will be catastrophic, as if what is happening now will be like, a stroll in the park. Other than that, what else? Can they do the operation? Even if they would have personnel, U.S. Army would have personnel, their required force, they wouldn't be able to run real combined arms operation of this scale. They have no experience. They still are, going back to this, grasping at this last straw of this Iraqi Gulf War 1.0. Please, spare me. So, and that's what we have. It's a catastrophe. It's geopolitical catastrophe, which now is beginning to have a serious geopolitical and economic effects, so to speak, And the question is not only in the price of the oil. just before I went here. The American liquefied natural gas tanker have been hit in Egypt, for crying out loud. Those people do not understand. They always thought that, oh, we have tomahawks or JASSMs and we can reach anybody. Anybody can reach the United States now, So, and especially, you saw yourself, Strait of Hormuz, and now Bab el-Mandeb. These are critical choke points. You cannot fight geography. And guess what? Iran controls them. Here we are. Can they open it? No. And that's pretty much it. So if they want to continue to do their, repeat as a definition of the insanity per Einstein, that's, doing the same thing over and over again, thinking that you will get the different outcome out of. That's the definition of insanity. This is who they are. And the machine itself broke. It has been broken for a while now. But now you can see yourself how it cannot operate anywhere, And you have the guy who saved America, as he promotes himself. Have you seen the Donald Trump's True Social accounts? This is he has to be removed from power. The guy is absolutely lost it. So, but then again, he is surrounded by sycophants and who are utterly incompetent. And again, Pentagon is incompetent, CIA is incompetent. So who is going to come and tell him that, dude, you screwed it up, so it's FUBAR, effed beyond, beyond recognition. And he continues to play with the markets, and he's not president, really. He is some kind of shyster. But then again, pretty much most of them were.
Andrei, the only power, in my opinion, that the United States, the only country that would be able to do what has happened to Ukraine, basically destroying everything in Ukraine. And finally, you see, 2 days ago, there was a new article in Wall Street Journal talking about how Ukraine is winning and winning big. They're so much capable of, producing propaganda in which, even a country like Ukraine that doesn't exist anymore, it's not a functioning country. You see, they're winning. Well, and are they going to do the same in the West Asia with it, Saudi Arabia and all these countries?
Yeah, the only thing they know, again, keep in mind, average American journal, from Wall Street Journal, CNN, BBC, British, obviously, Germans, Lügenpresse, average of them is a terrorist and Goebbelsonian propagandist. These are people who have no honor, no humanity in them. And they, again, listen, this is the scum of the earth. I mean, this is human herpes, essentially. And so they will say, you know what, they will sell their family for good story and promotion. And, so those people have no principles. And so they will write whatever. Oh, yeah, Russia is losing. I never saw losing side advancing. So they invent stories, and because American public and Western public in general is brainwashed. Although Americans, unlike Europeans, they have somewhat different outlook on life because they have a lot of. We have here a lot of alternative media who are actually free to speak. And so, but other than that, I'm sure, hey, Moscow is about to fall. Yeah, it's Russians are preparing their unconditional surrender letter, and so. But yeah, that's what they do. They're a bunch of losers. They cannot understand that United States is absolutely not what it tried to present itself. Militarily, it's a paper tiger. And well, if you look at actually what they teach as the military history nowadays in war colleges or in their military academies, it's all confabulation. It's fairy tales, essentially. That somehow, Patton was ready to go to Moscow. I mean, those people evidently do not understand basic operational, things. And yeah, eventually they got high on their own supply. And they paraded themselves as incompetent. I mean, terrorism, that's what they do. Come on. I mean, wasn't Minab, Starobelsk, they attack all the time Russian civilians, and then they hide behind the backs of their, terrorist, Nazi terrorists. So United States and the United States military smeared itself now forever. Nobody will forget them again. And if you take a look at this in historical perspective, oh yeah, that was my lie. Oh yeah, we did something in Vietnam. Okay, we did this and that. Oh, what do you do now? Well, it's supporting terrorists and Nazis. Okay, there you go. You wanted it. Nobody rose and stated that I submit my resignation, I cannot do this. No, they did it all because the only thing they value is their careers, and and none of them understands war. Operationally, we saw what they are. It's pathetic.
I think what's Andrei Iran is doing. Last night we had an Iranian attack on Jordan, and without the United States had Donald Trump announced, or he had some sort of pause because they didn't attack Iran for 4 days. And then you see Iran attacking them without being attacked. Iran is just evaluating, assessing what's going on in Jordan. They want to attack. They want to preempt the upcoming attacks from the United States. How do you see the situation with the air defense system, interceptors, and what the weapons they have in the West Asia?
Well, I mean, they are running out of them. Apart from that, they are not very effective. It doesn't mean that they do not intercept. Again, listen, you have to understand, Ted Pastol can go out and bloviate about those 2%. It's not 2%. Obviously, United States air defense is more effective than that. And as I already stated, it's probably 25, 30%. I don't know. I mean, difficult to say. But they certainly intercept something. What is important here, it has to be split into types of the targets. That's what professionals do. The aerodynamic targets of this type, ballistic targets of this type. This is effectiveness across the, types of the weapons. And you can see periodically they get lucky, they shoot down even ballistics, whatever the ballistic is flying there. But even if it's 35%, even if it's 40%, you might as well not have it because most of it still gets through. And as the result, after especially a lot of satellite photos have been released, and you can see yourself damage which was done to American bases, United States have been expelled from the Persian Gulf area, period. Simple as that. And that tells you everything you need to know about the air defense, which was there. And again, this catastrophic number, 3 out of 8 THAADs, this was the super duper pooper, whatever the weapon system, anti-ballistic missile system, gone, destroyed. So that's everything you need to know. And so Iran has a free hand now in terms of escalation, and they can preempt, and this is absolutely normal. They know where the American, essentially, main assets, if you wish, withdrew, which was Jordan, obviously. There are some in Israel, but obviously Iran is saving something if Israel decides to commit suicide. And it's catastrophe. It's military catastrophe for the United States. And if they were able to spin it, in Ukraine somehow, because obviously insulating themselves and listening to the fairy tales from the, Kiev regime, here they cannot now spin it that easily because obviously other parties, non-Western parties, are involved there in a sense that there is an Arab street. Obviously, they cannot discount that. There is obviously all kinds of the Islamic Muslim countries which react to all that. All kinds of things are flying through there with the visual evidence of how United States essentially being defeated. And even Al Jazeera, well, yeah, we know it's, but those monarchies on the Gulf, they are done. And Dubai evidently is empty now. It's not going to recover. That's the whole point, So the shift in terms of what really mattered for the West, in a sense, not strategically, operational, I would say, if we kind of use this military analogy, it's oil and things of this nature. Russia obviously was a grand strategic thing. It's over. What do you want to do? Again, you want to fly and bomb? They're going to run out of bombs. Iran is a 1.6 million square kilometers country with 93 million population. people who apply the Iraqi experiences to that are incompetent, because Iraqi experience is irrelevant to the war in the general, And so, but that's the only thing they have to fall back. Oh yeah, when we were in Iraq, no, nobody cares what was happening there. Here is the reality, strategic reality. Here's the country which has maybe not the top of the line, but good enough weapons which can penetrate and air defense, whatever the air defense United States has left. And now they are out of their missiles for Patriots, and not that they were any good to start with, but there you go, and that's the reality. And again, the question: if you sit in some way in the Joint Chiefs trying to coordinate whatever they're flying from the CENTCOM and the information, and try to coordinate it with anything, what are you gonna do? Nothing. When you don't have resources, there's nothing to fight with. If the United States wants to reinstate the draft, good luck with that.